All right, now I have to stain the end grain. So what I'm going to do is use the same rag I was just using, which still has plenty of pigment in it. But I'm going to blot that rag out in a piece of paper towel or another rag to get a lot of the excess pigment out. Then, when you stain it, give it just a couple of quick swipes and you're done. All right, like I said before, when you come in the next morning or half a day later, if you discover that this is not dark enough, I can always get darker. I can't go the other way. So what you would do in that case is wet the end grain with mineral spirits again, dip your rag into the stain, blot it out so that you get a lot of the excess colorant out, give it a couple strokes again, okay? But if I just dip in there and go in full strength, I'm going to get too dark. Okay, now just another reminder also, I'm using mineral spirits because this particular stain is oil-based. If I was using a water-based stain or dye, that would have been aniline dye, or sorry, that would have been distilled water. If it was an alcohol-based dye, that would have been alcohol. Okay, so you do have to understand which thinners thin the various stain products you're using. Let's just take a look at them again, side by side. Now let me just take you through, by way of recap, the various species that I demonstrated on and remind you of what worked and what didn't and why. First up, we have an inexpensive liquid pigment stain, which again is also a stain and dye combination. Knotty pine ply, you can see tremendous blotching in a very unpredictable area. We also have blotching around the knots, which I would expect to happen a reasonable amount. A very heavy sort of pixelation in some areas over here. Basically, it's not very good. Very bad choice for knotty pine ply or softwood ply. In other words, blotchy species. Next we go to my favorite choice, which is a thick gel stain product. Now here you see that the coloration is much more even. We still have enough variation that it looks like wood, not like something that's been painted, for example. We have light areas, dark areas, but not in such a stark, irregular way that it looks like what we would normally call blotch. Okay, now also let's take a close look at this knot over here. Now this knot isn't, this knot is like the other one, where it has fallen out and the manufacturer put some wood putty in there. It still doesn't look perfect like a normal knot, but at least the oil-based product colored the knot richly. The example with the aniline dye, it didn't add much color at all. Now lastly, I just wanted to show you another example with the gel stain, but this time with finish on it. Okay, so this has 3 coats of finish right over top. Let's take a look at what we see. Again, we see some minor blotching around some knots, which is kind of to be expected, but overall we've got a nice even tone. It does have some dark and light areas, but it all seems very natural and the color is extremely rich.